Hey, what's going on, guys? Pineapple Sway here. Today I'm bringing you guys a Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League video where I'll be talking about Suicide Squad actually wasn't a $200 million loss. Something I've noticed in the past year and a half covering this game, now approaching the 2 year mark, is that every YouTuber, every journalist, basically everyone that was covering this game that had a big platform, said that this game was a $200 million loss. That's what led to this game's demise. That's why this game was a failure. That's why WB cut the plug early. All of basically this and that and that. And I'm here to tell you guys and share that, after just a year and a half of not really wanting to say anything because obviously people have moved on from this game. So, out of my sake for making a video like this, because I can already see it, I'm going to get a lot of, mean comments and stuff. So, and I just didn't really want to deal with it, but here I am. But you guys know what I'm saying. I don't want to get troll comments and stupid stuff like that. But basically, this game was not a $200 million loss. It's amazing to me that still, being a journalism major, um, it's just crazy how much misinformation still gets spread in the world to this day. And I'm not gonna sit here and tell you guys like, oh, this game was a success. It made so much money. It made $1 billion. No, that is not the case. This game still was a disappointment, and I'm here to make that clear as day. This game was still a disappointment and was considered a financial disaster, but it did not lose $200 million that every page, every journalist likes to spread on the internet, which is a complete false lie that really brought Rocksteady down and almost costed them their company. Um, WB as a game, as a whole, like the gaming whole of WB Games, took a $200 million hit in revenue. That's all. All the journalists saying anything other than that are basically spreading fake news, and that's really it. That might be a hard concept for a lot of people who are hard on saying that this game is it's woke trash or whatever. That might be hard for you guys to grasp that concept, but this game was not a $200 million loss. It was WB Games as a whole. Their revenue hit was $200 million in 2024. And believe it or not, they can still take a $200 million revenue hit and still make money. And although there was, a big revenue hit, they were comparing, year to year. In 2023, WB Games had one of the most successful years ever with Hogwarts Legacy. So, obviously, when you're comparing the success of Hogwarts Legacy, which I think brought in $700 million in revenue, comparing it to 2024, which I can't think of all the games that WB released in 2024 off the top of my head. Obviously, Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League is the big one. So, but when you combine all those games that they released in 2024, it caused them to, have a $200 million revenue hit. But, they still could make money even if they have a revenue hit. Does that make sense? Probably not, because a lot of the times when I explain things to people, they don't really seem to understand. But, however, it doesn't mean that Suicide Squad lost 200 million. It just means WB Games made $200 million less than in quarter one. It basically, that's really the only way to explain it. It's kind of stupid to explain it now that I'm saying it. For example, the best way to explain it, and I saw someone post it online. It basically means that last year, quarter one, they sold so many copies of Hogwarts Legacy that their income was 900 million. So this year, their income would be 700 million if it was a $200 hit. That's kind of the best way to explain it. It's like explaining it to a 5-year-old. And even with the game being a loss or them taking a revenue hit, the game still could make money. And to sort of add more to the point, another reason why this game's plug was pulled early, it wasn't because of the $200 million loss, as I just explained. The $200 million loss was Warner Brothers as a whole, Warner Brothers Games. The game actually did sell pretty well, only on PlayStation 5, mind you. The reason why this game was pulled early was, I'll show you right now. there's this thing called an in-game store. And if you guys played this game, no one bought these skins. No one really bothered with these cosmetics. And the only reason that they were really making revenue from the cosmetics was because of Harley. That's why every battle pass, every skin pack had Harley, because she brought in the most revenue. None of the other characters brought in any revenue whatsoever. And Warner Brothers basically looked at that and saw that, well, this thing that they bet on, the live service aspect in this in-game store, was bringing them no money. So they decided to pull in the plug because they virtually thought there was no point. There was no point to maintain this live service. There was no point to keep it going because it didn't bring them what they wanted. Obviously, at the end of the day, people will probably still say that this game is a $200 million loss when it's just not. But I finally thought, hey, now is probably the right time to share that this game wasn't a $200 million loss. It's WB Games as a whole. Now that we're almost in 2026, and people have kind of moved on from this game, I think now the hate mob is now moving on to Halo Combat Evolved because it's on PlayStation. So yeah, I don't know. It's a weird world that we're in terms of gaming. I'm not going to sit here and lie to you guys and say that this game made all the money in the world, because it definitely didn't. But it's just crazy that there's so much misinformation out there, and I think it's time to say the actual thing. No more, as I was literally about to quote the Riddler, no more lies. But yeah, this game wasn't a $200 million loss. It was WB Games as a whole, and the reason why WB pulled the plug early was because no one bought skins in the in-game store. The only character that really brought them any revenue whatsoever was Harley, as she's probably the most popular character in this game. Anyways, though, this is Pineapple Sway. Peace out.